day 9 of Feminist Books, because we apparently in 2025 still need to explain this shit to people. And today's book is Invisible Women, Data Bias in a World Designed for Men. This is such an important book, and I worry that women are not going to read this book because it seems boring, but it is not. It's important. The reason I like this book is because it kind of goes back to everything I've been saying in almost all the videos for this week's Feminist Books, which is that it's so important to understand history from more perspectives than just the people who are allowed to tell it. And with that in mind, you have to understand that everything is made for men. And so, I mean everything that is made, tested, created is for this mystery male customer. From car safety to medical research, the structures of our society have been made with the male experience in mind and are always the default. Women's lives, bodies in particular, then their needs are different. It's not always the same. They're often excluded from the data sets that shape policy, design, structures. Medical stuff is the thing that I think is the most infuriating to me. The way that women are treated in medicine is abhorrent. It's abhorrent. You could be giving birth to a child and they have to cut you, and they're not going to give you any pain meds. They're going to tell you to take Tylenol, or, meanwhile, a guy goes in with like a cyst and they're offering him opioids. You know what I mean? Like you can find a million examples. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I mean, it is absolutely infuriating if you do a little bit of a dive on the way that women are mistreated medically, and the way that they're oftentimes, the sexism is so strong. It is so ridiculous. There are still women who are not allowed to do certain things because their doctors tell them that they have to get permission from their husbands, or they need to get a permission from a guy to do it. And you think that this doesn't exist, and it does. It absolutely still exists. There are complaints consistently that a woman goes in for a procedure and she's told no, that the doctor doesn't want to do it. And I'm not talking about an abortion. I'm talking about other types of care, because they feel like you're going to regret this. Like, I want to have my tubes tied. No, we're not going to do that. You're going to regret it. You're too young. Are you kidding me? Like, if a guy came in here and said he wanted a vasectomy, you wouldn't question it. You would just do it. And even if you did question it, if the guy turned around and said, well, I don't really care what you think, you're going to do it anyway, you would absolutely do it. And it wouldn't be a question. Like, sometimes women have to sign a form. It is absolutely insane. They're trying to get to the point where you can't have birth control unless you get a signature of a man, which is absolutely insane. And they're trying to start that now, which is really the beginning of some bad things to come. So please be vigilant and understand your rights, and report any doctor who is doing this, any pharmacist who is doing this, who is not filling out your prescriptions because they don't agree with it. Call it out online, call it out publicly. It just goes to how deep misogyny is. And this is where you get the guys who roll their eyes at you when you say stuff like that, because it's like, oh, Jesus. No, it's true. It's really true. The seatbelts in your car are not made for you. That crash test dummy who barely survived, that's not you. That's not going to be you. In preparation for this list, I was talking to some friends of mine. My friends was saying, I had to go in and have a biopsy of my uterus. She used a specific term, and I can't remember what it was, but it was a very specific procedure where they had to take like a chunk out of her out of her uterus, and they didn't give her any pain meds for this. And this is like a regular thing that doctors do, and they don't give you anything for it, and it is massively painful. They just tell you to go back to work. Like, they tell you in preparation, oh, you'll be fine. You can go back to work right after. So you don't take time off, and you can't walk afterward. You're crying, and you're treated like you're being over dramatic, but it is a massively painful problem. But you think that they would give you some kind of pain meds immediately after, but no, they won't. They don't give you any meds. And I understand, I'm not a doctor. Maybe there's reasons that sometimes you can't, but not on all. No, there is a real bias in how medication is given to women, because women are just expected to deal with it. I mean, just having a fucking pap smear is painful, and I'm sorry, it was for me at least. That I don't want something metal being stuck into my vagina. Thank you. You know what I mean? And it turns out you don't have to. There's other ways that they can get that test done that don't require a frozen metal object being dug into your vagina and then cranked open and left like that, which, by the way, was one of the more painful things that I've been through. I can't even use a fucking Diva cup because they're too big, and they don't. I mean, I cried the first time I put a fucking Diva. I tried to put a Diva cup in. It hurt so bad that I literally had to sit down for a little while because I managed to pull it out barely. I was petrified that I wasn't going to be able to get it out, and it hurt like hell. And that was a plastic, like, rubbery thing. Like a fucking pap smear was like crazy. It was horrifying. And some doctors use like plastic ones now that aren't as bad, but they still fucking hurt. What they're doing is still fucking painful. And there's other ways to do it. And they don't even try other ways because they don't want to learn other ways. This is just the way they know. And it's the only way they're going to do it. And it's just like, don't ever go to a male physician. I'm sorry. If you're a male physician who is horrified with me and you're the first one who wants to comment and say, absolutely not. Not every guy is like that. Please don't think that every guy is like that. I applaud you. Please put your link in my comments. But it is horrifying how many men do not take women's pain seriously. They just think you just have to put up with it. And it's like, oh, women are used to pain, you know? Women are used to pain. I used to watch videos. I don't know if they still do them anymore, but on YouTube there used to be videos of guys who would get these devices that mimicked period cramps and stuff like that, and contractions from birth and stuff. And they'd be writhing on the floor, and the woman put it on, and they'd get on and be like, "Yeah, that's pretty normal." And she's just dealing with it, and we have to deal with it all the time. I wanted to die. I will tell you something very personal. When I first started my period, when I was 12, for the first 3 years, it was, looking back on it, I know now it was not normal. It was not normal. The pain that I felt, and I am not exaggerating, I wanted to die. Like, I literally remember saying, maybe I'll kill myself because I don't think I can go through this my whole life. I just don't. And I found out later that I had an issue. So but I didn't find out until I was like 19, by the way. That was when I first was like forced to go to a doctor because you had to, for college, you had to have a medical workup. And I thought that meant that I had to go to a gynecologist, and I didn't actually have to, but I did. I went and I sucked it up and I went. And they were the ones who told me that I had an issue. And they were like, "You've been living with this for a really long time." And I was like, yeah, I have. And I didn't want to live. I literally wanted to die. That's how horrible it was. It wasn't, I had crazy heavy periods. And I mean, crazy heavy. Like, I was the girl with the thing tied around my waist all the time. I literally had blood all over one of my seats when I was in school. It was so embarrassing. But I used to have to live with that regularly. And sometimes it would be while I'm talking to someone and I feel like I'm going to collapse with the pain of it. So that's just something that I've dealt with my whole life. It stopped. Thankfully, it stopped when I was around 20. But the heavy periods never stopped. If you're somebody who's had to deal with heavy periods your whole life, you understand. You're so tired of buying nice things that you want to wear and you can't. You know, the trip to the bathroom is always, you know, a cleanup job that you have to clean up after, because it's, you know, you can't walk without blood going everywhere, down your legs and everywhere. There's been times where, you know, you've got like a crime scene going on. Even when I did go to the doctor about this issue, it should have been treated a little differently, I think. I really think it should have been treated a little differently. This book really goes into a lot of the science in the way that things are designed for men and they are made for men. And it's from a direction that I think a lot of times feminism doesn't go. And it should be talked about more. It should be talked about a whole lot more, especially when it comes to health and safety. But for me, Personally, the thing that infuriates me the most is medical biases against women, particularly when it comes to pain meds and pain management, and just the way that they're treated. In particular, when they're pregnant, they're just brood mares. They're just going to go in and take the baby out of the horse. It doesn't matter that you're a human being and you've got some guy's hands literally 3 inches deep into you, and like, oh no, this is fine. It's just totally natural. No, it's not. It still hurts. I don't care how natural something is. Bleeding out from a stab wound is natural, but it doesn't mean it doesn't fucking hurt. you know? Stop treating women as if every ache and pain is just some over emotional reaction. Like, I could take that. Like, a lot of guys kind of treat you like that too sometimes. It's like, oh, she's just being over dramatic. No, no. If you had this pain, you would be on the floor in pain and begging for your mommies. Okay. You can't deal with the flu without needing help from someone. You can't deal with sniffles sometimes without, oh, somebody feel bad for me. Meanwhile, women are just meant to push through it. And then their worth is sometimes tied to that. Like, oh, you're such a warrior, you're such a warrior because you could just push through it. No, your ability to try and deal with excruciating pain and trauma and that isn't a good thing. This isn't an exercise, okay? This isn't lifting weights and you have to just push through the pain. No. This is internal pain and massive problems. A lot of women die from stuff all the time because they're not being treated serious. It's not being taken seriously. I can't tell you how many times women's pain is dismissed and it can't turn, and you go to and get a second opinion if you're lucky enough to be able to afford that, to take the time off work to go to another doctor, to have your insurance cover that. If you're not feeling like, oh, I don't want to bother anybody, because that's a whole other problem that women have. But to get a second opinion and find out, oh no, this is stage 2 cancer. This is a serious problem that you need to have a surgery for or something like that. But that the first doctor just dismissed as you being over emotional or not being able to take pain, which I don't understand. In the history of time, women have more than demonstrated that they are able to take a whole lot of pain, usually way better than men are. And that is not just being a feminist, that is statistically proven. But a lot of times their complaints about pain are just kind of swept under the rug. I love this book because it goes into a lot of that. It goes into how there is a massive bias in how things are designed and created, and just how medicine is even taught, like how medications are meant for men, like their dosages are meant for men. It's such an important book, and I hope you guys read it. Interesting read, and you should be aware of this kind of stuff if you're not already. So if you'd like to buy it, as usual, I'm going to put a link in the description. Please use that link because I get a couple of pennies, which will allow me to keep buying good books like this. And if you can't afford it, then put your library card to good use. So thank you so much. Bye.